Now, before we leave the topic of system databases, I do want to talk about one concern that you do need to be aware of with your system databases. First of all, if you actually want to see some of this information, we can do a query. So I'll just do a new query. And let's say, for example, that I want to select some information and I want to see all the information about information schema columns. And so I'll drag information schema columns over here and notice select everything, select asterisk, that's all rows, all columns from information schema columns, and execute it, and there's the information that comes back. Now, the one thing you do need to be aware of is that your master tables are constantly being changed. Every time I add a new column to a table, it is going to make a change to a table in this master database, and so I have in effect changed the master database. Now it's very important, and again I'll talk about this in backups, that you keep a good backup or a current backup of this master database. Now you will run into situations where the master database becomes corrupt from time to time, and these are rare, but it can happen. You'll have to rebuild the master database. My suggestion to you when you come across that situation, and you actually need to educate yourself a little bit on this before you get to that point, go out to the documentation and look at, notice, rebuild master databases. Okay? And one thing you're going to notice on rebuilding the master databases, this is not something that you want to get into very often, because to rebuild the master database, notice you have to install SQL Server from the command prompt, and if you'll scroll down just a little bit here, notice you can rebuild system databases for a default instance, and then they have them for named instances. But you'll notice the syntax that you're going to have to put in to do this. And all I'm trying to do here is, and I'm not taking you through this process, I just want you to be aware of, if you ever have a catastrophic failure of SQL Server and you don't have a backup of the master database, you will have to rebuild that master database. And so this is how you would do that. So again, these are some concerns for the master database. Treat these things with the importance that they deserve, because they are the brains of your SQL Server. And without them working properly, your SQL Server simply will not function.